Attention! This video is sponsored by Console Debtors.
Hello, it's Minitron, and today I'm gonna be talking about generic jungle gyms and mind games. Well, this correlates with time efficiency in DBD a lot, because survivors always want to keep their chases as long as possible, while killers try to cut them as short as possible. So what I'm gonna tell you are some generic advices on running these jungle gyms, and I'm gonna be showing you some mind games which you can pull off to catch the survivor off guard and to win some time for you to apply pressure in the match. Well, you need to remember that this only applies for basic killers who have M1 power and 4.6 meters per second speed, because if the killers having chasing power, usually jungle gyms play out completely differently. So we're gonna be discussing the basic killers, and let's jump straight into it. An LT wall, it's called that way just because these walls are shaped like T and L, and basically here are two chasing direction. Let's draw killer, survivor. Survivor vaults a window, and the killer has two options: either to go from the right side, pushing survivor to this corner, or going to the left side, pushing survivor to that way. So obviously there is only one good direction to do here, right, to pull survivor over there, just because if you chase from the left side, survivor gets an easy vault right here, and if you continue to chase him like that and go for that left side chasing again, he's gonna vault a window, and he's gonna loop this for a very long time. So the right chasing direction is to go to the right and push survivor over this corner. By this time killer catches up, and he's somewhere here. Run a bit further, and by the time survivor comes over this corner, killer will be probably at this corner. So at this point, survivor needs to make a decision. Either he vaults this window, or he fakes vaulting the window and goes further. And the killer also has to do a decision. Either he continues chasing him and catches him if he's running away, or go here and then double back to hit survivor when he's vaulting. So basically at this point, killer will have around a 50% chance to catch the survivor. Well, this might sound bad, but it's actually pretty good, because survivor needs to win all of these 50% chances to infinity if he wants to stay alive. But the killer needs to win only two of them, because survivor has two health states, but after first health state he's gonna just run away probably, so killer actually needs to hit survivor only once. So 50% chance is very fair and very good actually. The same strategy from chasing from here applies to chasing from here. You should go to the right side of the loop if looking from this direction. So well, also this tile has a little mind game that I'm about to show you. It's not quite working that well at the T wall, but it's rather more working at the L wall. So if the killer comes and chases survivor from this direction, like in previous example, survivor will be here, killer will be here. So of course killer can fake it this way and then catch survivor going that way, but that's not gonna work if survivor just gonna wait around this corner. So what the killer might do is to threaten going here and survivor will probably see the killer right here and go to this little edge, but he won't pass an edge when he's already going to be seeing the killer with his red light. That's a red light. So if his survivor sees that here's a red light, he understands that killer is committing that way, and he can just vault this window easily. But what happens if the killer is hiding their red light and walking backwards? So he'll be right around this corner and red glow won't be showing, and survivor will think, oh, maybe the killer is coming this way, maybe he's about to catch me. He is not passing this corner yet, so he doesn't see it, and survivor instinctively go backwards to the vault, like if you were coming from this way, and try to see which way you're coming. He'll try to run to this corner, and that's when you just turn around and hit them. This works so often, it's really useful. Smart survivors, of course, might understand what you're doing, and if survivor is not looking backwards, this also won't work. But if survivor is not looking backwards, then you just go this way, and you fake it going that way, and then just go this way, and you'll hit them. So I'm talking about survivors who are actually smart, who are looking backwards at you, and well, that's pretty about it about TL Wall. It's pretty balanced structure, so I personally like it because it gives a fair chance to outplay both sides. So well, let's go to another one, a Long War shot wall loop. It's not actually always like that. Sometimes this wall is shorter and something like this, without this one. But it can be both ways. So this is Tal has a palette. So let's draw a killer and survivor. And I'm gonna say just now that first survivor needs to loop the lone side because he has more chances to play the killer on it. The second one, it's not very safe to loop this structure at all. So these walls are obviously very high and survivor is not seeing around them. So if the survivor, for example, comes here, killer shows his red light and then double backs. Survivor wouldn't know if, for example, killer will be coming over there, or the killer is just sitting here, hiding his red light, and about to turn and catch survivor when he's gonna assume that you're coming that way and he's gonna come this way. The same goes to those corners. They're not really very safe. So survivor can do some tricks. For example, he can stay over here and with the edge of his camera catching the red light from here, but if the killer just hides his red light and then turns, he'll catch up and get him. So what happens if survivor drops a pallet? So when this pallet is dropped, this tile becomes much safer. For example, what if the killer tries to go around this wall? Survivor will have always have time to cross it, and if the killer is doubling back, if survivor is not panicking, he'll always be able to vault back. So he always, from this point of view, he sees this corner. So if the killer hides his red light, if the killer switches here there, if survivor is not panicking, that means he'll be able to outplay the killer here. So killer probably needs to run this side, and at this point survivor will probably come here and watch if the killer is committing. So he's gonna search for red light in here, and if the killer is not committing, he'll probably just go backwards a bit. If the killer is committing, survivor will just run over there and make it to another vault. So well, if the killer stands here and he's just hiding his red light. He thinks he's being smart. Survivor might not run into him. Survivor might just run away to another loops. And if survivors are smart, they'll try to run away every time the killer is getting some mind games going. So if the killer just tries to go like crazy and catches bloodlust survivors, it's not gonna work. It's gonna take 2 million years. So I recommend as a killer just break this pallet. Break this pallet once it drops. The survivor, if you want to mess around with, you have Death Heart, maybe you can go and try to outplay the killer on this side, but it's not very safe. Once dropped, I recommend just kicking it, because playing over that might result in horrible consequences to your time management. So well, let's get to the next jungle gym. Okay, so next jungle gym is a straight wall window tile. I don't really know how it's called, but it looks something like this. Here you have a window, here you have a pallet and a couple of walls to surround it. Well, so here obviously survivor wants to vault each time he has an opportunity. If the killer is chasing this pallet from this direction, it's kind of bad news for him, because survivor is just gonna vault. So right chasing direction right here needs to be this way. So the survivor is going to run not directly to the vault. If, for example, you catching up to survivor right behind the window, he'll need to fake it, or he'll need to maybe vault it fast to catch you off guard, but mostly if you're starting to loop this wall, it's much better to just chase from the right direction like this arrow. So what if survivor eventually gets to this vault if you can't stop him? Well, here you have a couple of options. The bad thing about this tile is if you come from the left direction, survivor's gonna be able to make it to pallet and then to vault and then again. If you chase from the right direction, survivor might still go here, he might go for pallet, he might go and fast vault this window, he might go and fake this window, and it's really not much you can do. There is one little mind game around the vault which you can possibly do. So what do you basically do? You pretend to chase one direction. Survivor is looking through the vault and he's gonna wait over here and look through the vault if you're committing to that direction. Then you just switch up and go to another direction from this one. So you fake going that way. So I was like, oh shit, I need to turn around and go here. And here you can vault a window and catch the survivor off guard. This is not working too often, but it might work and help you. Well, so what if this pallet becomes dropped? Well, these walls are again very high and no one can see over them. Which is pretty bad for killer. But for survivor, once this pallet is dropped, one of the safest things on earth. So well, what if the killer comes through here? Nah, it's not going to work. Survivor is just gonna vault it. Wait, if you're coming this way, vault it back. Or maybe survivor is just gonna run here and make it to this vault or fake this vault, and you really don't have much control over this situation. But if you come through this direction, it's even worse. Well, survivor can't vault because you can double back, so he just go for the window, and then he's gonna have enough distance. Anyway, you chase him, he's gonna have enough distance to make it to pallet again. So this pallet, I don't really think you can mind game too much. If the survivor in chase gets to this corner, no matter which side you're going from, no matter how you hide your red light, if you're not really catching him off guard and walking backwards all over this place to catch him from this side, if you're not doing something that crazy of a mind game, then he's gonna be probably able to see you and make it to the pallet. So this pallet I just recommend breaking as soon as possible, and it's very important that you play around this wall right to not give survivors much distance. How usually chasing this wall actually works? So when a killer, for example, is catching up to survivor from this side, survivor has an option to vault this window or just fake it. So it's like 50-50, but actually he can run also here, and he can run also here, and he can run also here. So there's really a lot of possibilities, and this style is much stronger and more survivor-sided than we've seen so far. So mind game and play around this wall with hiding your red light as much as you need. Make it sure that the pallet is broken, because once it's not broken, it's one of the safest pallets. So well, let's go to the next one. Okay, so this next jungle gym I will call an angled vault tile. It obviously has the pallet and the vault with an angled wall. So let's see if the killer is chasing you from this direction. Survivor is going to be somewhere here, and he needs to basically make a decision. Either he commits to this vault, trying to look backwards if the killer's committing, or maybe he fakes this vault and goes for the window, or maybe he just goes for the pallet, but not a fact that he'll make it, because in some maps this is actually shorter, so not a fact that he'll make it. And the killer here also needs to either double back, go here and catch survivor if he's vaulting, or commit if survivor is faking the window. The killer is thinking that he's gonna the survivor is gonna vault and he's gonna double back. Survivor might just run here, survivor just might run here, might run elsewhere to another loop. So here your best bet is to show your red light, then hide it, see here if survivor is committing, and then go around this side if he's not committing to the vault, and catch him or make him drop the pallet. This might work. If the survivor is right here and you don't catch him, for example you were running from this way, you basically have again option to go this side or that side. So well, if you come through the left side, survivor is probably going to make it a very long way, and maybe he's gonna make it to another vault if you're just chasing him all over that pallet. If you will be chasing him from the right direction, he'll be forced into this situation that we pretty much discussed about looping this tile. Of course, survivors want to loop this way, so you should loop it the other way. So if survivor comes here, he needs to do something fancy, like fast vault in this window right in front of you, or something else. What if the survivor drops the pallet? There's might be a mind game that will actually help you in this style. Like you can see, it's not the L wall that we saw in the short wall long wall loop. So if we just look at this, it's look quite similar, but it's not having this little wall. So what you might actually do if survivor is from this side, you can actually go from here. Survivor will be here by this time. he's gonna look at you and see if you're committed. And you commit, you show your red light here. Now survivor is gonna come to this corner, and he's making it to pilot, but he cannot wait for you to come here, because this is too short of a distance, and if you just hide your red light here, you're gonna make it to pilot and hit him. So what the survivor will do here very often, when you see that you're committing this way, they will just run to the pallet and look backwards to try and see if you're coming from this way. Well, what happens if you do? What happens if you do? If you do, he's just gonna vault it. Then he's gonna have time to react, vault backwards. So you should not do it. And when a survivor is here and looking here, of course, you need to stay over this after faking this, and stay over this wall, hiding your red light. And you just wait while the survivor is coming here and looking backwards to just epically show up and hit them right when he thinks he's safe. So that's a pretty cool mind game. That's pretty much everything about this style, I think. So let's go to the next one. Now, this structure is called a 4-wall loop. It's pretty random spawning. So what it has in common with every variations, it has 4 walls that are pretty much the same. One wall is very straight, one wall is also straight and having a vault right in the middle. One wall is having a break right in the middle of it, and one wall has a break closer to one of the ends. So depending on the random which you get on the RNG, it can be from the survivor favorite loop to killer favorite loop. And this is obviously the survivor favorite one, and that is the killer favorite one. Let's talk about why. Well, let's say you're a survivor, you're running from the killer. Killer is coming from this side, and you're probably going to vault this. You're going to vault this, the killer needs to maybe do some mind game here, fake with the red lights, and come from one of the sides, and both sides you're gonna still make it to pallet. Or, as a survivor, you can just loop around this structure until the killer catches up, and when he finally catches up, you just go for the window. You don't even go for the pallet. Then when you go here, he catches up, then you drop a pallet. Then you run all the way here. So once the survivor dropped this pallet, and he's, for example, here, he can just run this wall for a very long time. It's gonna be pretty hard to catch up, but you can do it, just going around this corner and bloodlusting it. If the survivor is from this side, you can actually chase him too. That will be maybe even worse, because survivor might just vault this window when you're close to catching up and then go for pilot. So run this pilot, you can actually in some time get a hit, and if you really need it, bloodlust your way around it. But if you know he's gonna win a lot of time here and you just don't want it, you might just break this pallet and get it over with, make him run to another, maybe unsafer loop. Well, but depending on RNG, this can completely change. For example, look at these walls. What is this window even facing? So survivor will get absolutely nothing from here. And what if survivor comes to this pallet in hope of some safety? For example, killer was chasing him from here, and he comes to this pallet for some sort of safety. The killer will just go here and hit him. He drops it from this side, or he can just go here and hit him. He's dropping it backwards. So this loop is just by itself. All these walls are actually meaningless if this RNG is so cruel. So basically you get something like this, and this pallet should never be broken by the killer. Don't break it in any case, because you can just go around it and hit survivors. It's just like a normal Z wall or something. Well, that's about it, and depending on RNG, this can turn from survivor favorite to killer favorite. And in survivor favorites, you might as well put last around it, but if you don't want it, just break it. Maybe it'll be even better. But you need to understand the RNG. If you see that everything is lined up for survivor, then you just probably need to break it. Or you'll have to bloodlust around this every time the new survivor comes here again. And the last tile we're gonna look at together is the beloved shack. So the killer shack is one of the strongest tiles in the game for survivor. Basically, survivor wants to vault this window, and he can stand over here and watch if the killer comes from this side, and he can just vault it. So there's no really much of a difference which way you're chasing him after he's vaulting, because if you come from this way, which is very long way, he might just go to the lone wall, to the vault again, or he might go and wrap around here, and it's gonna be tough. And if you're gonna come through this side, he's gonna have an easy window here, which is not in your favorite too. What you probably need to do is to get into a situation like this. When you're coming from this side as a killer, and survivor is looking at this point, if you are going to him. So what you can actually do, you can show your red light. If survivor is silly, he's gonna just vault this window blindlessly, and you're just gonna double back and hit him. What you can also do, to a bit smarter survivors, you can show your red light and then hide your red light, faking that you're going backwards. Actually, on very good survivors this might not work. They might actually be able to get this vault even when you turn back and try to hit him. But if survivor is not very good, he might wait at this side and not make it a fast vault, which will result in you hitting him, or he will just think that you're running over this way, and he would want to, for example, go around the lone wall. And you're gonna catch him somewhere on the pallet. If he needs to drop this pallet, you're basically won. So about the shack pallet, it's one of the safest pallets in the game, maybe the most safe. Basically, you're never gonna catch survivor if you're not having any chasing power in here. If you come from this way, he has this much distance. Oh, sorry. He has this much distance to see that you're coming. If you're gonna just fake the red light, fake the red light, fake of the fake, and go through this side, he's still seeing you from this side. He's still seeing you from this side. If you're gonna come through this side though, through here, and try to catch him off guard, at first he'll just vault backwards. He'll just vault backwards. And wait, if you're coming from vault, he's gonna see you. If you're coming from here, he's gonna see you. You can't do anything to survive here just because of how long these walls are. So, shack pallet immediately break. I wanna tell you also about the other chasing direction. About this chasing direction. If a survivor is here, the killer's here, he is basically threatening to catch survivor before he makes it to pallet. What survivor might do here, he might fast vault this window, so when you come around this corner you don't expect it, and he vaults in. If you think the survivor is smart, you can fake your red light going this way and then double back here before he can vault back, or before he makes it to pallet, and actually catch him. Also, if you're committing, survivor might fake the window, and it's very important that in Shack you don't fall for the window fakes. You shouldn't fall for them at all, by the way. You need to very carefully understand the distance, and if you should launch to this window, or if you should just wait and hit the survivor last second when you see he's vaulting for 100%. In this very strong structure, if you make just one mistake and swing too early at the window because he fakes it, he's gonna make it another loop, he's gonna drop ballots, and everything's gonna be pretty upsetting. So you should try to keep your cool in this structure. Well, about the lone wolf power. Lone wolf is actually pretty good for survivor, because if the killer is doing some mind games around this wall while you're over here, you can just run to the lone wall. The killer might not expect it and go through the air and start looping around it. If the killer is going through that direction, you might as well just go for the lone wall. Lone wall is good because the killer is not expecting it. Sometimes the killer just focuses on this one vault, like only it exists. So you need to mind that survivor always can go to the lone wall and waste more of your time. If you're not gonna expect it, you're gonna lose even more distance trying to mind game survivor while he's not here. He's somewhere here waiting around corners. Oh, fight survivors are hard. Well, there's also some mind games you can pull off. You can hide your red light, or for example, if you're coming from this side, some survivors might fail for that. They're gonna run here and see if you're coming this way, but you this time you're just gonna go backwards, hide your red light, and maybe hit him. That's not really gonna work on smart survivors. They're just gonna run here and be safe, because they can see this, they can see this, they can see this, they can see maybe even through this wall right here. So you're not probably going to catch him with that mind game. Also, about the holes in the wall, you should always look at them to see what the killer and what survivors are doing, so both sides should look through the holes in the walls if they are existing. Well, that's about it. That's all the structures I've planned for today. Maybe in the next videos I'm going to look over some map specific tiles. These were just some generic ones. And the one thing you need to remember about all of those mind games, it will never give you guaranteed results. So sometimes, like at the LT wall, your best chance will be like 50%. And if you make a mistake, you may as well get a chance only in 10 seconds, or maybe less, or maybe more, depending on how strong the tile is. But sometimes getting the probability higher might help you tremendously. But probability is not everything in Dead by Daylight, because there's also psychology. There's a lot of psychology in winning those probabilities, winning those chances, and you can basically read your opponent, think what he knows, and try to understand what his next move is gonna be. And the fun of chases is that both survivor and killer are doing that at the same time, which is incredibly fun, and that's what we love Dead by Daylight for anyway. So well, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel. I'm gonna make more videos for beginners, some guides, and maybe later I'm going to upload some gameplay. Also, if you have any propositions or opinions, you are very welcome to go in the comments. Hope you guys enjoyed the video.